Whether you're a pirate, a hospital administrator, a salvager, or any of the many other topics we cover on this channel, you are probably eventually going to want to expand from just one ship to a base supporting a whole business. Let's take a look at 5 of your best options. I'm Joey from Radio Free Coruscant, and these are the best ships for bases in Star Wars. Baleen-class. First up is the Corellian Engineering Corporation Baleen-class heavy freighter, and this ship really epitomizes what makes a good mobile base. Big hangar for your embarked craft, plenty of internal space to customize into whatever role you need, and loads of storage for various equipment. The Baleen featured a huge docking bay at the front, a large cargo grid for attaching intermodal cargo containers in the middle, and a small drive block at the rear. It was not the fastest or most maneuverable starship, but a mobile base doesn't need to be. It just needs to be able to move when necessary. The Baleen-class would make a good base for a lot of different types of organizations, but it would be particularly well suited to pirates. The Baleen's reputation as an unimpressive bulk freighter would keep potential victims from looking too closely at it until it's too late. Baleen-based pirates could store a small squadron of starfighters and some tugboats or something in the hangar, and then hide in an asteroid field near a shipping lane to ambush other bulk freighters and steal a few of their containers as they pass by. The ship could even be hidden inside a hollowed-out asteroid to maximize stealth, and only emerge from it to connect newly stolen containers to its cargo grid for storage until it is time to head to a shadow port or similar pirate hub to pawn off the ill-gotten goods. Alternatively, because it was possible to access the containers attached to the cargo grid from the inside, the Baleen-class could be used to house a large number of modular rooms or items for a wide variety of purposes. Hospital rooms, sensor pods, communication arrays. If you can stick it in a box, you can add it to your Baleen base. The Baleen-class measured 426 meters long by about 200 meters wide and 60 meters tall. The ship had a maximum sublight speed of 750 km per hour, and its hyperdrive rating is currently unknown. The Force Awakens cross-section book says that Han Solo tried to upgrade his Baleen-class, the Eravana, to have a Class 3 hyperdrive and ended up damaging the ship in the process, while the Star Wars Encyclopedia of Starships and Other Vehicles states that the Eravana had a Class 2 hyperdrive. So that probably means the Baleen-class starts out with a Class 4. Despite its relatively large size, the Baleen-class requires just 6 crew, a pilot, co-pilot, and several engineers or cargo managers. Even considering the ship was unarmed, this still seems remarkably low. And better yet, it could even be crewed by as few as just 2 if necessary, though this would almost certainly be unsustainable in the long term. The carrying capacity of the Baleen-class is unknown, but it was likely around 1 to 300,000 tons, like other similar intermodal container transports, possibly more thanks to its extra storage in the docking bay. The docking bay's capacity is also unknown, but it appeared to be able to carry several light freighters or shuttles, a squadron or 2 of starfighters, or 1 or 2 larger ships. Unfortunately, the Baleen's price is unknown as well, but it was said to be so expensive that most were owned by corporations rather than independent captains. To me, that suggests a price tag of at least 10 million credits new or 5 million used, but it could really be about anything. Quasar Fire. For something a little more streamlined and sophisticated, prospective base buyers could look to the Sorosub Quasar Fire-class cruiser carrier. I've covered the Quasar Fire many times, and it is fairly well known, so we won't dwell on it too long. This ship was primarily built for the Imperial Navy as a light carrier and mobile base, but it was also available on the civilian market as a heavy freighter. The Quasar Fire featured a large, triangular main hull in which a couple decks of useful equipment could be installed, and 4 large cargo bays or hangars at the rear. These would provide a fantastic staging area for whatever mission your crew is embarking on, be it piracy, exploration, search and rescue, or simply transportation. Park the Quasar Fire in orbit of a planet and have your small craft come and go from it as required. It's pretty self-explanatory. The Quasar Fire measured 340 meters long by about 330 meters wide and 47 meters tall. Its top atmospheric speed was unknown, but probably around 750 kilometers per hour like the Baleen. The ship also had a Class II hyperdrive. It had a crew of 250 and was armed with 2 light turbolaser batteries, 2 dual laser cannons, and 2 tractor beam emitters. The ship could carry 48 starfighters, plus various shuttles and other craft, as well as 5,000 tons of cargo, 150 passengers, and 1 year of consumables. Amazingly enough, the Quasar Fire was said to cost just 1.75 million credits. I personally suspect that this is its used price, and a new Quasar Fire would cost more like 4 million credits, as that is what the similarly sized Squadrons-class cruiser costs, but it's hard to say for sure. Oh, there's a kitty cat looking for me. What's the matter? Amazingly enough, the Quasar Fire was said to cost just 1.75 million credits. I personally suspect that this is its used price, and a new Quasar Fire would cost more like 4 million credits, as that is what the similarly sized Squadrons-class cruiser costs, but it's hard to say for sure. The 1.75 million figure comes from the Starships and Speeders sourcebook for Fantasy Flight Games' Star Wars RPG, which is also responsible for the minuscule 2.2 million credit price tag of the Cantwell-class arrestor cruiser that I refuse to take seriously. That book is a good reminder to take RPG stats with a grain of salt when discussing ships from an in-universe perspective. Ton-Falk. Another good Imperial carrier to turn into a base is the Kuat Drive Yard's Ton-Falk-class escort carrier. This was another fairly slow and underarmed vessel, making it better as a base than as a frontline warship. This was by design, though, as it was created to support small and medium Imperial battle groups that couldn't carry many starfighters in their own hangars. It was essentially just a giant hangar with engines, and it could carry a full wing of 72 TIE fighters. It was the smallest Imperial vessel to be able to do so, and on top of that, it could also carry 6 shuttles, landing craft, or other similarly sized vehicles as well. It was also possible to trade TIE fighter capacity for more of these larger ships, at a rate of 4 more per fighter squadron removed. If your base needs to be able to hold only larger gunships, tugboats, freighters, shuttles, or the like, and you have no need for starfighters, this would give you a total capacity of 30 ships. The Ton-Falk also had facilities for minor repairs and other starfighter support tasks. Unlike the first 2 ships on this list, the Ton-Falk was pretty much exclusively a carrier and wasn't suitable for most other types of tasks, but if you need your base to have extensive embarked craft capacity, it would be a great ship to make into one, provided you could liberate one from the Empire anyway. The Rebels managed to capture a couple, so it could be done. Otherwise, I'm sure they were popular on the second-hand market after the fall of the Empire. The Ton-Falk measured 500 meters long by about 185 meters wide and 150 meters tall. It had a Class I hyperdrive, and its top atmospheric speed is unknown, but its sublight speed was rated at 13 megalight per hour. Megalight ratings on ships rarely line up perfectly with their atmospheric speeds, but they can still be used to give us a good idea of what it could be. And based on the megalight to kilometer ratio of several other ships with very low megalight ratings, the Ton-Falk would probably have a top speed of around 260 kilometers per hour. I don't really put a lot of stock in megalite ratings, as they don't have a specific definition in Legends or canon, other than how fast a ship is in real space, but they can occasionally be useful to compare to other ships to get a good estimate of its speed in real units of measurement. Anyway, the Ton-Falk was very poorly armed for its size, with just 10 point defense dual laser cannons and a Krupex Munitions VL6 warhead launch system with a capacity of 60 medium concussion missiles. Fortunately, it could always rely on its complement of 72 tie line starfighters for defense instead. The ship required 3,485 crew, but could be operated by just 1,500 if necessary. It could also carry 800 passengers in the form of TIE fighter pilots and ground troops, and could carry 1,500 to 5,000 tons of cargo and 9 months to 1 year of consumables, depending on the source. These two sources also state different prices, one at almost 9.8 million credits and the other at 3.5 million. Based on its size and capabilities, I would say that the ship probably costs the 9,775,000 credit price new, but could be purchased used on the black market for pirates, or from other divisions within the Imperial Navy, for the 3.5 million price. DH-Omni. The previous 3 vessels would make a good base for a small to medium-sized operation, but individuals in need of a large base need look no further than the Horsch-Kessel Drive Inc. Dual Hemisphere-Omni support vessel. This was a Trade Federation ship used as a corporate super freighter like the Lucrehulk before the Clone Wars, and converted into a fleet tender and supply ship during the war. Relatively little is known about the ship, but it had enormous hangar bays and cargo holds, as well as plenty of other internal volume for your offices, crew quarters, and other facilities. Acquiring a DH-Omni could be tricky, as most of them were likely scrapped after the Clone Wars, but as a poorly armed transport ship it was probably not a high-priority scrapping target, and could likely be rescued from a salvage yard pretty easily. It's also possible that the Confederacy's DH-Omnis were repossessed by the Empire after nationalizing the Trade Federation, and were sold off to other Imperial-friendly corporations after the Trade Federation was dissolved around the start of the Galactic Civil War. Either way, sufficiently wealthy groups could probably just buy one at any point in the Skywalker Saga era, and sufficiently unscrupulous ones could steal one. While the exterior of the DH-Omni was unimpressive, its interior was a marvel of logistics. It had 2 fairly well-protected hangar passageways leading to 12 main hangars and several smaller hangars. It was essentially a miniature Lucrehulk, though miniature in this case is still larger than a Star Destroyer. The hangars were connected to a series of cargo holds and storage bays that could carry enough supplies to keep a small fleet or ground invasion operating for quite some time. This space could be used for supplies for whatever you have going on as well, or could be converted into additional rooms for whatever you please. The DH-Omni also contained automated repair and manufacturing facilities for building ammunition and equipment for the Confederacy's war efforts. If you're looking for starfighter capacity, the DH-Omni didn't usually carry starfighters in its role in the Separatist Navy, but each of its hangars could probably support at least 1 squadron for a total of at least 144 ships. The DH-Omni measured 908.78 meters long by 1,257.32 meters wide and 910.35 meters tall. It had a Class 6 hyperdrive and an unknown top atmospheric speed, perhaps around 500 kilometers per hour like that of the Lucrehulk. The ship was armed with an unknown number of point defense laser cannons and required an unknown number of crew. It could carry numerous Sheathipede-class transport shuttles, C-99 landing craft, and other things in its hangars, 5 million tons of cargo, and an unknown number of battle droids as passengers. The price of the DH-Omni is unknown as well, perhaps around 50 million credits new or 25 million used. Though, of course, it is always very difficult to estimate a realistic price for ships of this size. Lucrehulk. And finally, no list of the best ships to use as a base would be complete without the DH-Omni's bigger brother, the Horsch-Kessel Drive Inc. Lucrehulk-class battleship. The Lucrehulk-class LH-3210 cargo freighter would make a suitable base as well, but the battleship was essentially the same thing but with a bunch of turbolasers added to it, so we'll focus on that. The Lucrehulk was a colossal super freighter used by the Trade Federation for centuries, and was eventually upgraded into a battleship for the invasion of Naboo and the Clone Wars. Lucrehulks were often used as a base of operation for planetary invasions throughout these conflicts, and while most did not survive the rise of the Empire, the Rebel Alliance managed to capture one to use as a starfighter pilot training school, and a group of marauders on Kobo called the Bedlam Raiders used a core ship of a crashed Lucrehulk as their base of operations. Most Lucrehulks were scrapped after the Clone Wars, but many of them ended up being sold to the Corporate Sector Authority and could potentially be stolen from them, though how you would manage that, I have no idea. It would probably be easier to find a crashed one to use as a ground base like the Bedlam Raiders did, or steal one from a scrapyard and repair it as best as you can, than to hijack one currently in active use. Or better yet, just be a member of the Trade Federation, Separatist Navy, or Corporate Sector Authority in the first place. The Lucrehulk was one of the most effective and versatile logistics vessels of its time, meaning that however you managed to acquire one, it would be the ultimate mobile base. As mentioned, it was already built to be one, with everything from vast cargo bays to luxurious Trade Federation delegate staterooms. 50 embarked C-9979 landing craft could deploy thousands of ground vehicles and tens of thousands of troops in mere hours, and a nearly unmatched communications suite could stay in contact with associates anywhere in the galaxy. The core ship at the center of the Lucrehulk could detach and land on a planet's surface to further expand your base options, though the capabilities of the ring section on its own are unknown. I would guess that it just becomes sort of a space station still capable of regular operations, but unable to fly around too much or jump to hyperspace without the core. The engines and hyperdrive are located in the ring, but I assume the paranoid Nemoidians built the ship so that it couldn't leave without its command crew when they descended from orbit in the core ship. Perhaps without the secondary reactor in the core ship, it didn't have enough power to fly too far in real space or anywhere in hyperspace. It would definitely still have enough power to function as a base, though, letting you divide your facilities between space and the ground when necessary. The Lucrehulk-class measured 3,356.9 meters long by 3,009 meters wide and 1,028.8 meters tall. It had a Class II hyperdrive and a top atmospheric speed of 500 kilometers per hour. It required 203,060 crew, 60 organic command staff, 3,000 droid crew members, and 200,000 maintenance droids. The battleship version of the Lucrehulk could be armed with one of three weapons loadouts. One had 42 quad turbolaser batteries, the second had 24 heavy quad turbolaser batteries, 4 twin heavy turbolaser batteries, 160 point defense quad laser cannon turrets, and 400 twin heavy laser cannons. The third version had 51 turbolasers, 520 assault laser cannons, and 185 point defense quad laser cannon batteries. The Lucrehulk also had a complement of 1,500 Vulture droid starfighters, 6,250 armored assault tanks, 550 multi-troop transports, 50 C-9979 landing craft, and numerous sheathipede shuttles, ship's boats, and other utility craft. The ship could carry 139,000 to 329,000 battle droid passengers, and 60,000 organic passengers in the core ship, as well as 2 years of consumables and 25 million tons of cargo. The Lucrehulk-class cost the Trade Federation a whopping 500 million credits each brand new, but was said to have a black market value of just 40 million used. I don't know that I would trust a Lucrehulk purchased at that steep of discount, but that's up to you. And those are 5 of the best ships for bases in Star Wars. Let me know which one you would choose, or what you would have selected instead, and what you would use them for. Please subscribe to the channel for more Star Wars videos, and check out another one next. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next week. RFC, out.